Content and language integrated learning, CLIL, is not only learning a topic in another language, it's a way to allow students to be the protagonists of their learning experience. When approaching CLIL, one might fear that a foreign language may slow down the learning process, so that it should be necessary to cover less subject matter and reduce its cognitive complexity. In this project, students have found themselves using higher levels of English and communicating more efficiently their ideas. This is because our teachers asked us to learn by doing things and collaborating. We did not have to just listen, read, remember and understand. We also had to apply our knowledge, evaluate options and create something new.
In order to achieve this, we were given a task to accomplish in the target language, and our attention was principally focused on following the steps of the task rather than on the language used. In this video, you'll see 3 different ways to put into practice CLIL methodology. 3 different schools, 3 different subjects, 3 different ways to motivate and involve learners. But one essential thing they have in common. We are at the center of the learning process. We do not only listen and repeat, but research, analyze, evaluate and create. Each one of us is not alone in his or her task, but as you'll see, we had the support of a group of peers and in the background of our teachers.
Hello guys! What are you doing right now?
We are doing a project that is called CLIL.
What?
Well, CLIL is a project where we interact with different groups and we talk about specific things. We talk about specific things. It could be science, it could be literature or history, and we study that subject in the language that we are studying. In that case, is English, and in specific, we are studying science and renewable energies.
It's alright, it's quite curious. And what can you say about?
Well, first of all, we met our teachers and they told us what we should do, and they present us the project, and we were quite interested because it was a new possibility. It's a new way of learning, meeting the new language with a subject that we usually study. And then it's interesting to see how we can be more know more things about energies and our planet. That is quite important in my opinion.
Oh, it's alright, also my opinion, sort of. And you, blue guy, what can you say about this CLIL? Yeah, okay. How can you say? What can you say?
Well, then we had a test to understand our skills and abilities on language, in particular scientific language, to talk properly about the topic, so about renewable energies.
Excuse me. Are you also a group for CLIL? Yes. Huh. What are you doing?
We are trying to find what the best source of energy is.
I support nuclear energy, of course.
I support wind. I support wind, of course.
Why are you so sure of wind?
Because it's a renewable energy and it's totally sure.
How can you say that? Are you so totally sure?
Yes, I'm sure. See.
Well, science.
Well, solar power is probably one of the best sources of energy for our planet, and as we know, we can transform solar power into electricity through the use of these plants. So, as we know, there are a lot of advantages for us and for the environment. For example, there is no emission of CO2. As we know, it's a dangerous gas for our planet, for the Earth. And then we have there are no risks for nature and for the environment, so there are no risks for animals, for plants, etc.
Nuclear energy is the energy produced in nuclear power plants with the use of radioactive materials like uranium or plutonium. Obviously, this energy has advantages and disadvantages. The advantages are that the production of energy is continuous and is not influenced by external factors, and that the emission of greenhouse gases is reduced.
So, when we talk about solar power, we have to first understand how does it work. First of all, we have, as a first step, the solar panels. When we have the advantages, we also have disadvantages. In fact, when we talk about solar panels and solar energy in general, we have an expensive initial cost. In fact, those panels will cost to the single and to the state a lot of money. The efficiency will be intermittent. In fact, the efficiency of the solar panels will depend if it's day or night, but also on the location, because if we are on the equator or if we are in Europe, the light from the sun will be less or more powerful.
As we all know, natural gases are one of the most important forms of energy used nowadays. In spite of this, there are some aspects that may be dangerous to us and animals and even nature. We'll see them. First of all, even if natural gases are safer than other forms of energy, they result to be toxic to us if inhaled. Secondly, even if they are safer than coal or oil, they are still damageful because they bring to our organisms some external factors that are not good to us. In third place, some gases need to be extracted from underneath, so they require a great amount of work that is not always present. In fourth place, as a fuel, it is not very efficient, even if it is present almost everywhere in the world.
Hydropower is the oldest form of energy, maybe the oldest form of energy. It uses kinetic energy of water, of moving water falling off a drop and going through a turbine, which turning movement will produce energy that we can use. This is the so-called generating mode, but we have also the so-called pumping storage mode. This is used to balance the energy produced and the energy used. In fact, we can make water from the lowest reservoir go back to the upper one. In this way, we can recharge it.
Wind power is one of the most typical energy sources in Sardinia, and as all the renewable energy sources, it has both disadvantages and advantages. Disadvantages are quite uncommon, unexpected, because they are more ethical disadvantages. They are more like the impressions of the people themselves. For example, the noise of the wind turbines, because the constant noise in front of your house of a wind turbine can, in a certain way, annoy you. And also, there is a quite curious fact about the wind turbines' disadvantages. That is the wind turbine syndrome. It's not a clinical official disease, but it's more a syndrome of negative sensations caused by wind turbines and collected by some people without any official certification.
We think that solar energy is the best energy for Sardinia. But why solar energy? Because, for example, nuclear energy could create dangerous wastes for our environment.
Natural gases, instead, because some damages to our underground zones, because the exploitation of natural gases of Sardinia may lead to terrible consequences to the environment.
So in conclusion, we definitely believe that solar power is the best source of energy, renewable energy for our highlands. And why? So especially for the weather, for example, in this chart shows how our highland is the hottest area in Italy, and also because we have large lands, and also of course because it's safe.
As history has taught us that we cannot have only one thing to continue in our future. We must have a mix of energies. We cannot have oil and natural gases or coal and nuclear power because those are dangerous for the environment. But we can have solar power, for example. In fact, it's going to be cheaper and cheaper, but we cannot have only solar power, in fact.
In fact, we think that Sardinia, that model for energy, is a mixture of solar but also hydropower and waves. In fact, hydropower can be connected to other forms of energy, as solar, and then, as we will see, wind. And then waves, we are an island, so we are surrounded by waves, by the sea, that is a great source of energy.
So the perfect energy for us, for our group, is a mixture of all the principal renewable energies, except for natural gases or oil or nuclear power. So anything that brings excess cannot be the absolute solution for Sardinia. The best thing for us is a mixture, a collaboration between all the renewable energies.
So, did you enjoy this project, or the Clil project, and why did you like it?
Well, I like the project, and I think renewable energies may represent our future and also an opportunity to get a job in future. So I think renewable energies could save our planet, and I think we must protect, defend and respect our place.
Hello, we are at Senorbi, a small town in the south of Sardinia in Italy. This is our school, Enaudi, and we are students of the 5th B Liceo Scienze Applicate. Last year, our history teacher helped us carry out a learning experience based on the methodology of Clil. The general historical background was the Industrial Revolution in Great Britain and in Europe.
The main subject of our Clil project was the utopian socialism. In particular, we analyzed Robert Owen's life. He was one of the greatest managers during the first Industrial Revolution. Indeed, he managed several cotton mills in New Lanark, Scotland, of which he was able to gain a good production by improving the condition of his workforce, believing that the physical and moral environment was important to success. The preliminary stage was an introduction to the economic history of the Great Britain, which brought the so-called First Industrial Revolution. Our teacher used the interactive whiteboard in order to visually show us the historical process. The first lessons were in Italian, but the material she used was in English.
In this way, we began to become familiar with the specific language used to describe the historical process. Each image was supported by a caption in English, and there were links to short videos, always in English. At every step, we had to take a test, true, false, multiple choice, gut feeling, or open questions, using our smartphones. The team was divided in 4 different topics. Accordingly, we formed 4 groups, and each group had to choose one of the 4 different topics. Who could choose first? In order to do that and to add an element of discovery to the project, our teacher gave us a puzzle to solve. We had to move around the classroom and the corridor looking for QR codes. These are barcodes which can give access to a lot of information. In our project, they included clues for the solution of a puzzle.
So we moved around, and every time we saw a QR code, we used our smartphones to read the information inside it and follow the clue. The first group to solve the puzzle was the first to choose one of the topics, and so progressively did the other groups when they found their answer.
Robert Owen was a campaigner for the reforms to improve the dreadful living and working conditions that were common in Britain during the Industrial Revolution. He deplored the exploitation of young children. He also opposed to the corporal punishment and introduced shorter working hours. In 1825, Robert Owen bought an existing settlement in Indiana, which he named New Harmony. It had been founded by a religious group and was located on the banks of the Wabash River. Owen's plan was to create a utopian community, but sadly, utopia was not to be instantly realized. His project was too ambitious. The New Harmony community was to be divided into 6 departments, and each department was subdivided into occupations.
Robert Owen's major focus point was equality. All his workers were equal, and so were the children. Children weren't employed as workers as soon as possible, but instead went into school. This was one of the major key differences between Robert Owen's society and capitalistic standards.
Last year we started the CLIL project, CLIL, which stands for Content and Language Integrated Learning. Our teachers introduced us the topic of sustainable development. We first saw a video about what sustainable development was, and then we had to do a matching vocabulary exercise in order to memorize better all the terminology of the subject, and then we had to discuss about the topic. Then we saw other videos of an interview of Serge Latouche, and then we had to complete other exercises about also the topic. We were divided in groups of 3, and this helped us to work together and to face problems as a group. We also had to do a summary using as much as terminology as possible about the topic, and then we had also to use all the grammar structures that we learned during all these lessons.
One of the activities we have done in the CLIL project consisted in matching different words with their meaning. So, Carlo, what does biodiversity mean?
I think that biodiversity means that in a particular natural environment exists a wide variety of plants or animals.
Well, Chiara, what have you linked to the word deforestation?
I've linked it to the answer A, the process of clearing of forests. Since trees root systems are essential for keeping topsoil in place, deforestation can bring about soil erosion. In addition, loss of trees is said to contribute to global warming because trees reduce greenhouses and gases and provide shade.
Valentina, can you tell me the meaning of the human capital?
Human capital concerns machines, workers, money, land, raw materials, and other things that a country can use to produce goods and services and to make its economy grow. Resources may be renewable or non-renewable. Countries must use their resources wisely to ensure long-term prosperity.
Claudia, what have you linked to the word ecosystem?
I have linked it to the answer L. A community of plants and animals exists in an environment that supplies them with water, air, and other elements they need for life.